Hi again, guys. Today we're back on our MacCasts, our podcast to do with you meeting your team members. Today we're going to talk to Dave Bennett from our program manager from Dudley. Dave's been in Mac for a fair few years now, so has all his family. So without further ado, let's go over and meet him. Hey Dave, how you doing?
I'm very good, sir. How are you?
I'm great. Good, thanks. So we're going to do the podcast, Dave. We're going to talk a little bit about you, so people who know us in Mac and who don't know us, who've probably seen you in various academies because of the way you support different elements of what we do, the program managing, the support in the academies, the clubs sometimes, parties and all those different things. So this is going to be their chance to get a little bit of feedback about who you are. So do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself in terms of Mac and martial arts?
Okay, so yeah, my name's Dave, as we've already introduced me. I am the program manager currently over at Dudley Academy. I've worked between all the academies though, various different times throughout the time. So I've been here about 7 years now. And basically, my main role really within the academy then is to introduce new guys, but then look after our students as they travel through their journey onto their black belts.
Fantastic. So I know you've been in the other academies, but right now you're based in the Dudley Academy, Dave. How long have you been over there?
So I've been there about 18 months now.
Yeah.
So I've been working over there. Bit of a change of scenery, new people to meet, new way of doing things as well. Really good. Been really positive so far.
Superb. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about martial arts for you, because I know you're another one of the team that is really has got a long history in terms of at least always thinking about martial arts and always wanting to get something to it. So when did you start? What's your kind of history of martial arts for you?
Okay, so in terms of the history for the martial art for me, I've been trained for about 7 years. Originally, I brought my son along, Zach, so I brought him along because he was extremely shy. So he was only 4 years old at the time. And basically I got him started as a way of building his confidence, and that's basically where it all started from. But prior to that, obviously, as a young man growing up and stuff like that, as a kid, I always wanted to do the martial arts, never really had the chance. I then later on in life, when I started to get my own money, never really pursued it to much extent, although it was something in the back of my head that I thought I'd like to have a go at. I watched all the films, always thought that was really cool. And then, like I said, I brought Zach along later on in life, got him started, saw how it developed for Zach, how he developed, and then just had to get stuck in myself and just give it a go. And the rest, as they say, is history.
Yeah, I think for people that perhaps know you and know you in your environment, may or may not, well, actually they probably would if they're in the academy, because I know as a family, you, Kelly, Zach and Addy are very close. All of you train, which is fantastic. Yeah. Both Addy and Zach are very positive influences in our junior program. They're both on Storm. They're both out with the Kung Fu Cubs. Kelly, who's Dave's wife, Kelly's, as well as being a very, very good martial artist herself, also leads our Cubs program with Sam. And he's also an integral part of the Mac team. So when you look at Dave, there really is a complete immersion in terms of how his family's involved with martial arts and so on and so forth. And I think it's fair to say, we've touched on this in a couple of other recordings, that Dave, Kelly, and we all train together as a team on a full-time basis. So they're training with each other, the other program managers, the other chief instructors, some of the coaches occasionally, where we're always training and moving towards our own martial art goals. So there really is a big influence from the Bennett family within the Mac training environment. Why do you train now, Dave? I know you've gone back 7 years, and I know you wanted to do it before. What motivates you to train personally now?
At the moment, it's just purely for me. There's always something new to learn, and I love the challenge. I love moving my body in different ways. obviously achieving the black belt is your first step in that journey. For me, I believe that that's the truth, because you've got the basics now. So now we can be given further sort of training from that. So you don't have to spend the time so much learning it. You've got it there. It's using the tools in a different way. And I just really love the training, all aspects of it, particularly stand up for me. I've taken into a little bit more for like the dirty boxing and Carly side of it. And then recently we've really got into like the ground training. And so I just love all the aspects of it and what it does.
I think one of the things that's notable to me, and you just said it right at the start of that there, is one thing that seems to stand out amongst the team and amongst the guys that have been involved in martial arts. I mean, 7 years is a fair chunk of time, is that they want to retain, they almost believe retaining the open mind, the white belt mentality is critical to their, well, I was going to say critical to their development, but it also just seems to be the underpinning of why they're able to continue and keep the momentum of their own training going forward. Would that resonate with you?
Yeah, absolutely. I like to keep the black belt spirit in the fact that you don't give up, don't surrender kind of thing, but then keeping the white belt mentality where you're always learning and always prepared to learn. Not letting the fact that you've got a black belt get in the way, and letting the ego take over with the I already know it kind of attitude. I think definitely keeping that the cup empty kind of mentality as well. So you can always be filled, and there's always more to learn.
And I think for me, there's a balance between that kind of humbleness about wanting to train, but also the training building the strength to be able to go, well, I can be humble. Larry Hartsell, one of the most well-known JKD people under Sigung Bruce Lee, was well known for saying, don't mistake my kindness for weakness. And I think, sometimes within martial arts, the willingness to learn, the willingness to abide by the etiquette and the desire to help people through it, sometimes doesn't come across how hard that person trains. So I know you, particularly physical training for you lap it up, you know what I mean? I know you love to do that as well as the martial art training. But I think that's, for me, is a big thing. Somebody who can retain the humility of it, but also have built the strength from it. Probably yin yang in reality, I would think. Do you know what I mean?
Balance. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely.
So, where over time, Dave, where have you trained? Have you trained with anywhere else? Have you trained with? Has anybody that you've trained with while you've been at Mac in terms of outside instructors that would resonate with you?
Okay, so no, in terms of like academies and places like that, I haven't trained anywhere other than Mac. It has really been the only place that I've trained at. Along the way, predominantly my training has been under yourself, sir. So that's most of my training. We train 3 times a week currently, which is about 4.5 hours a week under yourself. Along the way, I've been fortunate enough to train with Rick Young. So done the seminar with Rick, which I thought was absolutely amazing. True martial artist. Again, going back to your point on being humble and showing respect and discipline. And for me, that's exactly what a martial artist is. I've trained with Eric Paulson. So I trained a couple of the seminars with Eric Paulson. Again, completely, I don't know, I'd say exactly the same as Rick, but completely the opposite, in fact, of his personality, where he's a lot louder, a lot more sort of brash, if you like, but sort of a lovable attitude to that as well, which is amazing. Again, what a martial artist should be.
Same character traits, different personalities. Both humble, both come out of the Guru Inosanto lineage, both very connected in the day to Sifu Larry Hartsell, both superb grapplers, both superb stand-up guys, both world champions. There's some real parallels there, but as you say, personality-wise, 2 different flips of the coin, although they both are, for me personally, really incredible instructors and people. So how do you maintain your passion now?
Well, yeah, I think for a lot of people, they see that the getting to your black belt has been the ultimate. But for me, it's not. It's about going beyond that and pushing yourself through it. I maintain the passion through. I'm really into like just body movements and the martial art itself. Like Bruce Lee said, where it should be like an expression of self. So it's about finding your own way and what works for you, and devising your own style. And I think how much there is to learn and absorb from that. There's just so much to do, so much more left.
I think a lot of people within the conversation about Bruce Lee and about, you know, as he said, create your own style, absorb what is useful, reject what is useless, add what is specifically your own. And I think there's a lot of people who are kind of saying, listen, I do Jeet Kune Do because I take a striking art and a grappling art and I put them together. For me personally, for you to do Bruce Lee's Jeet Kune Do, you have to come out of the Inosanto lineage, from Bruce Lee to Inosanto. You have to be able to incorporate Jun Fan. You have to be able to understand and where Kali incorporates into Jeet Kune Do as a bigger picture. You have to be able to look now and see how it's evolved, how it conceptually has evolved, so that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu has come into play, or MMA as it's become more evolved and developed now. So I think, me personally, I think that's very relevant in terms of the whole martial art should evolve from what it was years ago. Would you think that's the same for you?
Definitely. I think if you're saying that you've got that JKD lineage, and that is for me truly what it should be. It should be all of that. It should be everything from the striking and the stand up right the way through the ground and everything that comes in between that. But then also maintaining the attitude and the spirit of the martial artist as well. So not just, I can do all of this because it's violent. It's, I can do all of this, but I choose not to.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a really good point, that, and we touched on it with a few of the other guys a little bit, that we build the best version of ourselves, but along the way we face the fears, the lack of confidence, the failures, and we come back. That's what, you know, we come back from them, we learn from them, we look around at other people that are with us and look for support or get that support automatically. And I think because we challenge that status quo, because we go, rather than do nothing, I'm prepared to go out there and try to train, try to push myself, then I think it's very much about the whole picture. And very often people look at martial arts and only see the physical side of it. So how do you, you know, we're doing this podcast at a time, Dave, when the current climate we're in is extremely strange. How do you think your martial art training helps with that, reflects on that, or, you know, is able to kind of support you or whatever in that, in the aspect of where we are?
Okay, so with that, definitely for me, again, it comes back to the physical activity, but then it's also using the strength of mind as well. So using the physical activity to get the body going, but also then to help release the chemicals within the body that help you to have that feel-good factor. And it's also the fact that it is a challenging time, and it helps you to keep a clarity of mind that things aren't always going to be like that. You know, it's to keep positive and to keep pushing forward with it, and just to make the most of what you're able to do at the time you can do it. Very similar to if you have to train with an injury, or if you have to do any kind of thing where you can't do it to your fullest potential, but you make it the best that you can at that time.
Cool. What one thing, looking back, I've asked everybody this, what one thing, looking back at your training, now 7 years in, black belt, training at a high level all the while, right across a variety of martial arts, what one thing would you say now to the students in MAC, people who are coming in, about what that you wish, I wish 7 years ago or 5 years ago I'd have known this, or this was a light bulb moment for me? Anything like that that sticks out to you?
I think for a lot of people, I think it's more facing the fact that sometimes you don't want to do it. You don't want to get up and train. I know certainly for me, when I first started with training, I worked permanent nights at the time. So I was working as a night shift manager, so that countless times where I could only do the daytime classes where I just didn't want to get up and go and do it. But I knew for a fact that if I'd have stayed, well, when I did stay in bed, I felt worse than if I got up and went and actually trained. So although you've had a hard grinding day, it's always better to get up and go and do it anyway. I know those are probably the days that you should be training, when you really don't feel like you should. And I think for me, that would be my message, just to keep going, just turn up and do it.
Yeah, that kind of ability to take one step at a time, but knowing, so you and I we talk a lot about what motivates people, why we want people to start, and how sometimes they don't always meet that. But for me, that just having that chance to be able to go, okay, set the goal, but realizing setting the goal, you've got to do it one day at a time, one class at a time, one experience at a time. The setting of the goal will help you go through that journey and its ups and downs sometimes better than just turning up and thinking, oh, well, I'll just get through this as it goes. So for me, that's kind of, is that kind of a good paraphrasing of what you say?
Yeah, that would be it for me, to be fair. It was something that I wanted to do, something that I've pushed myself to do. But like you say, it's definitely setting it first of all, going, this is where I'm going to go and this is what I want to be.
Yeah.
And having that visual and then thinking, actually, you know what, yes, I'm going to go and do that. But like you say, exactly that, setting the goal in the first place and then keeping yourself on track for that. Okay,
Dave. So one more question. It's been great having a chat with you. Everybody's different. Some nice thoughts, some great insights. Even for me, you know, we talk a lot during the day normally when we're able to be together. But just listening to you guys talk about your kind of what's driven you in the past, or what's driving you now, how you came to it. Do you have a message for our students that are out there now, and for our family, and so on and so forth?
Yeah, definitely. I think more than ever now, it's a point when we should look after our bodies more, making sure that we're as strong as we can be, pushing ourselves and keeping ourselves active as well, and using the time constructively. You know, whether that be spending a bit of extra time with your kids if they're at home with you, or learning something together with them, learning a new skill as well that you're able to do while you're at home. At the moment, I'm trying to learn French, so I'm going through some of that. Yeah. So yeah, I'm trying to learn French. I'm doing all right with the reading of it, not so good with the speaking of it. But you know, just use the time as constructively as you can. I
think that's awesome, Dave. I just wonder why, at the time that you can't get out of your house and the time that you can't get out the country, nor can anybody get in or out of France. No, I'm joking. I think that's fantastic. I think for people like us who are involved in this every day, for us, we walk into academies, we're there, we see equipment, you know, we're around the likes of Rick Young, Eric Paulson, and all that type of stuff. To try something new is a reminder of what it feels like to be back at the beginning, to be having to work at something, to be able to be. So I think that's absolutely fantastic. And maybe at some point we can try a little small French conversation. But listen, Dave, it's been great talking to you. Thank you for the chat and the insights, and hopefully see you soon.
Excellent, no problem, sir. We'll catch up with you soon. It's been good.